This brings us up to the first and only full day in Tainan. We stayed in a hostel called Bike Tainan. We got bikes that were included as part of the hostel. The first place we visited was the Confucius Temple, which was constructed in 1665.
Coffee. You want Wind Cafe X2 or Wind Cafe Roasted Latte?
This looks outstanding.
Oh, that thing's a little banged up.
Party foul. Wind Cafe X2. It's good coffee. After we left the Confucius Temple, we finally got breakfast. We got some outstanding pork noodles. Josh got some incredible pork and rice. And coffee with ice cream. That's how you make a proper latte. It's time to put the Osmo to work. Get this thing all unlocked here. Ready to rock and roll?
Ready to rock and roll.
And we set off for Anping Old Fort.
There was a fort that the Dutch built.
It was constructed in 1624. The Chinese invaded. The Dutch resisted, stayed in their fort. Finally ran out of food, met the Chinese in open battle, and were completely eliminated. Now, as much history was tied to the fort, the Chinese and later on the Japanese had a lot more interest in the bricks than the fort itself, so the actual fort is completely gone. Either way, there's still a wall that was put in place just to showcase the landmark and an interesting building that was built by the Japanese. Pretty cool landmark, some interesting history in the area, and it has an incredible view of Tainan.
The kids get pretty cool field trips. I wish we could do cool stuff like shoot airsoft on field trips in school.
I guess we could have gone down there, but this is a lot cooler. Josh Wilson came up with the idea that we should have cake by the ocean. We bought the cake and we set off for the ocean on bikes. Now you're gonna play the song on your phone and we're gonna listen to Cake by the Ocean as we eat Cake by the Ocean. We had Cake by the Ocean. It was time to go explore one of the big temples that's north of Tainan. In true vlogger fashion, I have to shoot video while I'm riding down the road on a bike. Josh is somewhere back there. We have 5 kilometers to go. I just missed it on video. I heard a terrible crash.
It was a really proud moment.
The chain kind of blew off his bike right as he went to pedal in a puddle and kind of went down right here. Sunglasses are fixed.
Can you tell where I landed? There's 4 spots. I'll give you 4 guesses.
1, 2, 3, 5 if you count the hay.
There's a nice truck driver who was approaching in the other lane. He brought out an entire box of tissues. So the truck driver was holding the box of tissues, looks at the tissues, just kind of awkwardly looks at us, smiles, and hands us the box of tissues and just walks away. We decide to ride back towards the city center so that we can get first aid stuff. We buy some rubbing alcohol at a drugstore, walk out front.
That's weird.
So we have Josh duct tape back together now. Nothing that a little bit of surgical tape and gauze pads can't fix. I think he's ready to rock and roll.
And we hit the road again on the bike. We biked a good 3, maybe 5 miles from wherever we were after the bike wipeout incident.
So now we're at one of the largest temples in the area. We've been told it's the biggest in all of Taiwan, but I don't think that's the case.
temple was absolutely beautiful. It was probably one of the biggest ones that I've seen in Taiwan. We left the temple and we've got at least 5 miles to get back to the city center. We decided to take a much more direct route than going out by the ocean, which is where we came from. Google Maps works really well, and this road had a proper bike lane, a lane for scooters, lanes for cars. Rode around through a commercial industrial complex of sorts. There was a lot of factories and huge businesses. The road started out just like any other road, but eventually turned into what amounted to a highway of some sort. It had a bicycle lane, it had 2 scooter lanes, and then it had 2 car lanes. So it was really well divided. You weren't near any high-speed traffic. Ultimately, that road got up to the point where the speed limit was 70 kilometers an hour. Cars and scooters are well separated from you. Totally fine. That is until you're riding along and all of a sudden there is a construction barrier which obliterates not only the bike lane, but both scooter lanes. At this point, Josh and I are riding along at the very edge of the 2 car lanes against the concrete barrier. Scooters are flying past us. Cars are flying past us. I am pedaling as fast as I can. Mind you, my bike is much better. I can switch gears. Josh wanted the one that couldn't change gears because he said he never shifts anyway. Turned out that bike kind of sucked. The chain blew off, which is why he wrecked in the first place. So, understandably, Josh is absolutely terrified because if he pedals too hard, the chain's going to blow off again. On the other hand, if we go too slow, we're getting run over. So I'm just absolutely hauling ass down this road. I mean, it was the biggest adrenaline rush ever. It was absolutely insane. It was like riding on an interstate highway here in the US against a concrete barrier on a bicycle with 2 lanes of cars flying by you. I don't know that I would volunteer to do it again, and I wish I had video footage of it, but it's one of those things that I'm glad I got to do it. We shared that insane experience. We made it through it, and when we rode back into town, there were fireworks going off all over the city center. It was as if we arrived victorious back to the city center, and even though they definitely weren't for us, there was a night market.
After 30 or 40 kilometers of biking, that looks absolutely amazing.
We ate a ton of food and essentially rode back to the hostel and finished up the trip down to Kaohsiung. It was a very long day. I don't know how many miles we rode those bikes. They were not designed for what we took them through. I shot a lot of footage in Taiwan that was very meaningful to me, but there wasn't a lot of narrative. It was the first time that I went out and said, I'm gonna do a vlog every day, I'm gonna shoot all this cool video. Came back and realized that it was gonna be a lot of work to put together. So here I am, finally telling that story, trying to fill in those blanks enough that I can at least take this and put it out there. Like this video if it was awesome, comment below, let me know what you think. Please subscribe, and I will see you in the next Taiwan video.